Hello everyone, I'm Wendall Jones and welcome to this edition of The Platform. On this program we examine the national issues of the Bahamas, and today on our program we are going to be talking about the Bahamas National Coalition Party, the BNCP. And we have heard a whole lot about the BNCP in recent times on some radio programs, and we read some articles in the newspapers. But today on our program, we are pleased to have members of the organization with us. And we are very pleased to have Godfrey Eneas here as well. Reverend Dr. Andrew Stuart, who is the founding chairman, organizer of the party, and we have Lorainne Arthur, who is doing the public relations, and Mr. Westley Campbell, who is one of the organizing members. Godfrey Eneas, nice to have you here as always.
Thank you.
The BNCP, the Bahamas National Coalition Party. Why that name, Reverend Dr. Stuart?
Well, we are stressing sovereignty. So Bahamas, national, to encompass all 700 islands. Coalition. We, as the BNCC, we partnered with the unions, and also we partnered with the Christian Council to a certain extent, among other organizations and interest. And so we intend to carry that same partnership into the party.
So you have decided to bring religious organizations along and make them a part of this political enterprise?
Well, what we are aware of is that in partnering with them through the BNCC, we became knowledgeable of the distinct not only needs but concerns of the church in the Bahamas, and also what type of Bahamas the church would like to see. And whereas a church organization may not be able to become a part of a political party, for sure church members would definitely be a part of political parties.
I see that you have on your pamphlet here an objective, which is to free the nation from 40-odd years of mismanagement of the fiscal affairs of the country, the natural resources, by both the PLP and the FNM.
Of course.
41 years, the pamphlet say.
Yes.
Says, you really believe that the country's economy, the fiscal and natural resources, that they've been mismanaged from since we became independent?
Well, it goes deeper than that, but I'll acquiesce that question to Mr. Campbell.
So successive governments, Mr. Campbell, mismanaged the fiscal affairs of the country?
Well, Brother Jones, you and I are both old enough to know we were around when the Progressive Liberal Party started, and we were around when the Free National Movement started. The truth of the matter is, when you look at the GNP of the Bahamas today, and you take an historical walk from 1967 until today, and you look at the growth of the Bahamas, you will see that our economy hasn't changed systemically, structurally, and fundamentally. The ownership of the resources of the Bahamas are not in the hands of the Bahamian people. We have inherited a neo-colonial system that perpetuates underdevelopment and unemployment. Right now, the country's GNP is some $8+ billion. But whose GNP are we talking about? Are we talking fundamentally about the Bahamian GDP, or are we talking about the foreign portion of the economy that really drives the ownership of the Bahamian economy? And so statistics will show you that the Bahamian economy is valued at less than $2 billion.
Well, how do you get to that? Because, you know, when you're talking about the gross domestic product of the country, you're talking about the amount of money that is involved in running the economy of the Bahamas, right? The amount of money that comes in for goods and services. So it's a part of the Bahamian economy. Right. That doesn't belong to foreigners or Bahamians. It is an accumulation of the funds that are in the national economy.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I beg to differ from you. And I beg to
differ I don't know on what basis you want to differ.
On the simple fact that when you look at the structure of our economy, who owns the economy of the Bahamas? The majority of Bahamians?
Yes.
They do?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Who owns Paradise Island?
But that is only a part of the economy of the Bahamas. And Paradise Island is not, you know, we are talking about all of the islands of the Bahamas. We are talking about all the goods in the Bahamas. We are talking about the workforce. We are talking about all of these things make up the national economy of the Bahamas. It's not just Paradise Island or Cable Beach.
You and I don't need to get into it. Let's talk the facts.
Yes.
The facts are, according to the Department of Statistics, we have 180,000 workers in the Bahamas.
Right.
We have a total population of some 370,000. Now, when you look at the GDP of that workforce, the average income of the Bahamian in the private sector is less than $16,000 a year. Average income of the Bahamian working with the public service is under $19,000 a year. Now, the government wage bill for the entire civil service is just over $11 million per annum.
11 million an annum?
11 million a month, which is some $120 million per annum.
It's higher than that, sir.
No, it is not.
It is higher than that. The government salary bill is more than $11 million a month.
I'll go and pull down
Mr. Campbell.
Yes, sir.
If you would say there needs to be a closer look at restructuring the economy.
We're going to get to that.
Right. That's a different story.
We're going to get to that.
Like Joan said, the GDP represents all the goods and services in the country.
But if you want to talk pure economics, you know that the goods and services generated in the Bahamas are mainly consumer goods, and then they're not generated in the Bahamas, they are imported.
Yeah, no, the import is one thing, but when you look at the labor force in the tourism sector, which is principally...
Yeah, the labor force represents labor,
yeah,
but it doesn't represent ownership.
No.
And it is a salary-based labor force. It is not a labor force that is tied to ownership of the economy. You wouldn't concede that point?
Yeah, but that's a structural situation.
And that's exactly what BNCP is talking about. We say very, very unapologetically that the issues that confront the Bahamian people are systemic, structural, and fundamental.
And if I may chime in, yeah, as it relates to the freeing the Bahamas from the ravages, etc., of the PLP F&M rule, using the natural resources as a base, we recognize that as we tap into our natural resources as the engine that would drive the economy of the Bahamas and the Bahamian people's prosperity, we would discover that based on the fact that these both successive governments have led us into along the path of what we call a deficit economy, using what you would call borrowing as the means by which the budget is serviced, using the various international agencies for the purpose of borrowing and grading our economy sort of seeking to also give us ratings to be able to borrow, etc. It is against that backdrop that we were led down a garden path of what we call a failed economy, rather than operating on the wealth economy of the Bahamas. And the wealth economy, we know, which Mr. Eneas is referring to as a structural situation. We recognize that there are two economies of the Bahamas. One is the wealth economy, and the other one is a failed economy, or service economy. And so we would wish to, in light of that, the PLP FNM has led us down a garden path of failure and underdevelopment.
Okay, let's look at it from this point of view. The last half of the 20th century was very good for the Bahamas. The second half, up until the mid to late 50s, right? The Bahamas was a fishing village, with most of its population in the family islands, right? With one or two, maybe three high schools, one hospital. The Bahamas was essentially underdeveloped. In steps Stafford Sands, who initiated the transformation of the Bahamian economy. And the Bahamian economy was transformed from a fishing village to a tourism and financial services-based economy. Now, no matter what you say, that model was successful. And it was able to lift the standard of living, lift the per capita income, even though the engine for its growth may have been foreign investment. But we cannot dispute, gentlemen, that that model worked in terms of uplifting the quality of life of the average Bahamian.
And it created a middle class.
Do you really want us to...
A middle class in the country. Yes.
Do you really want us to go...
Yeah, go. You
want to take a shot at this, Mr. Campbell?
Let me finish. The model was so successful. The model was so successful that it was duplicated throughout the region.
Yes.
Even in Cuba, Mr.
Cuba is now using the model.
Now using the model.
Cuba is using the model right now.
Because
throughout the Caribbean.
Because people are about lifting your people per capita income.
And tourism is the largest industry in the world. It's the largest industry in the world. And it would be foolhardy of any country in the world not to tap into the tourism market.
Okay.
It's world tourism.
Okay, let us take a look at let's take a look at the Stafford Sands. Let's take a look at the Stafford Sands.
Yeah.
And the model.
Yeah.
The model really was aided and abetted by Sir Roland. When after the assessment was done on the Bahamas' natural resources, aragonite in particular, Sir Stafford Sands, Sir Roland, what he did was he took control of the aragonite himself as Prime Minister, and personally set up a company so far as Ocean Key was concerned. He took the ownership of our aragonite, and the rest of that is history. Now, he did not set it up for the benefit of the Bahamian people. He set it up for the benefit of he and his family.
Where you got that from?
No, that's facts.
But where that came
that's
from?
Facts.
Because
that's facts.
No, but
that's facts.
Let me know where that came from. No, but
it is facts. It is facts. It's undisputable, undeniable.
Do you know Marconi Ocean Industries?
Well, let's go further.
No, man, actually,
We would go
do
further.
you know
Do you
of
know
Marcona Ocean Industries?
We would go
Hey,
further.
let me finish now.
Because we got into the genesis.
No, but
I
Dr.
took
Stewart,
you to the
Dr.
genesis
Stewart,
of
Dr.
the
Stewart,
of the
you
matter.
cannot make a statement which has no basis in fact.
No. It is basis in fact. Now he is asking. He may be able to. He may be able to
I go
put
back
a
to Sir
particular
Rowland thing.
Yes.
You said that Sir Rowland took aragonite.
He set up.
And
He set up
in
go ahead, in
for
1964.
himself.
In 1964. So he set up a company.
That is
out of Hawaii.
The Billingham Corporation.
And he brought it to the
Bahamas.
and set up the operations in
Ocean Key.
And he gave to himself the lease over Ocean Key
So-
for the manufacture, for the
Harvesting.
harvesting of
Aragonite.
Mr. Campbell, Mr. Campbell, Mr. Campbell, that is patently wrong. Let me tell you why it is wrong. I used to work for Marcona Ocean Industries, right, Mr. Jones?
yes, he was the director of Marcona Ocean
And I know the
Industries.
owners of Marcona Ocean Industries. And I am still associated with the ownership, right? And the ownership, the Ocean Key was leased.
From the
Nobody
government.
owned from the lease from the government.
From the government of Bahamas.
I've seen the papers.
And the government of Bahamas is still leasing
Right.
Marcona
I've seen the
Ocean
papers
Key.
of the lease. The siblings had nothing to do with that.
You said you've seen the papers, right?
Yes.
In fact,
So you could substantiate what I can show you now as the documents that are signed every 2 years from Ocean Key.
Ocean Key to what?
These are the documents that goes to the Office of Prime Minister, and that's the seal of the Prime Minister.
Right.
And this says Office of the Prime Minister.
Right.
Okay. And this is the date, June the 3rd, 2010.
Right.
You can read it.
Yeah, but this is Ocean Key lease.
Yeah.
This is a lease agreement.
Read the entire.
No, I can't read the entire document of the program. It is signed by the permanent secretary. But this is, I am writing in response to your letter addressed to the undersigned. I am directed to advise that approval has been granted to your client, Ocean Key Limited, to recommence its mining operations at Ocean Key and to export aragonite from the Bahamas subject to the following conditions. This is the permanent secretary from the Prime Minister's office writing to the attorney for
The
the...
renewal of the.
For the lease.
Yes, for the lease.
And how much is the lease?
Listen, no, hold on. We ain't got there yet.
$7,500.
Yeah, but that's fine. But we're talking about, Sir Rowland didn't own this. It is owned by the government of the Bahamas. And the office of the Prime Minister
Was responsible for land.
leasing this land or this key to a private company. The company used to be Marcona Ocean Industries. You see, I flew to Marcona Ocean Industries with Godfrey Eneas.
Yeah.
And the man who had the lease one time. I inspected the place. I saw what they were doing. I saw how they were mining aragonite. And I think...
You say this company is owned by the government of the Bahamas?
No.
That's what you just
No, the
said.
key
Allow
is
me to-
owned by the government of the
Right.
Bahamas.
Allow me
The
to
government of the
respectfully.
Bahamas
And the-
leased the key to a private company.
See, the government doesn't make money from the lease, you know.
Okay.
The government makes money from the royalties on the aragonite.
Yeah, now,
Right.
allow me to
So
respectfully-
the $7,000 is really just a nominal fee for the lease of the land, but they make money
From the royalties.
royalties on aragonite.
Hold on a second. Hold on a
This
second.
This is your letter.
Hold on a
show us-
second.
you show us
say the
information
government
with-
makes money on royalties?
Yes.
Aragonite?
From
Yes,
aragonite,
yes,
Where is
yes.
that in the budget? Of the
No.
Bahamas?
That would be considered revenue, but the revenue is
The revenue
based
stream.
on the royalties from how many tons of aragonite is exported.
Right.
There is no
There's a
line
customs
item.
officer when Marcona Ocean. There's a customs officer stationed on the key.
There's no line item in the budget
I don't know about that.
that says from aragonite.
No, but
This
budgets wouldn't show you line items from every revenue item that the government gets. The government shows you the overall revenue. For you to get into the details of that, you go to the Ministry of Finance. And the Ministry of Finance will say to you, well, this is what we got from salt, this is what we got from sand, sand.
That's right.
This is what we got from aragonite.
Yeah.
And
That's what it is.
And from
but
custom
allow me,
duties. Custom
allow me to
duties.
backtrack and respectfully.
This is
because
what
you
we get
use-
from licensing
so
fees.
You use the word statutory. So allow me to respectfully backtrack on my original statement because you used the word statutory. I will acquiesce to
You
your...
sure you statutory?
You said statutory, and so I will respectfully acquiesce.
Maybe subconsciously, I don't know.
Yeah, I will respectfully acquiesce. Now, but what we are saying is, based on if the Bahamas' foundation was built so far as our resource is concerned, the resource that would run the engine of the Bahamas, separate and apart from, you talk about tourism, you talk about tourism and other industries that are in place today. If our natural resources was based on the world market prices, and that is undisputable, the world market prices. If our prosperity was hinged on our natural resources, even to the point, even to a fair market value over the last 40 years, this would be a Garden of Eden today.
Okay, let me tell you. Let me express where I think I can agree with you to some extent, right? Jones and I have been saying for years, right, that the economy is too narrow. Tourism, finance, it's a two-wheel economy. And from the 60s, Sir Lyndon, Mr. Francis, and others have embarked on a economic diversification of the economy.
Two-horse drawn.
Right. They've been trying to diversify the economy, right, for almost 50 years now. And part of the problem we have to admit, gentlemen, is the Bahamian people. It's the Bahamian people. To diversify this economy and to utilize its natural resources, right?
So you now...
Well, hear me out. To diversify the economy and to utilize the natural resources, you need science.
Mr. Eneas, we have to take a break, but there's a view that the Bahamian economy is being diversified. It is being diversified in shipbuilding, in Freeport, and the oil terminal revenue that you get from Burma Oil and other places, Statoil in Grand Bahama. It is diversified by what you are doing in BAMSI. It is diversified by a whole range of issues, right? But we're going to talk about that. Let's take a break here. We're on the platform. We take this break. We'll come right back.